guys?
That was great.
All right. Were you able to see that on your end? You guys are able to see the videos?
Yes.
All right, perfect. It was lagging on my end, so all good here. Perfect. Just want to make sure that you guys were seeing it all right. How's everything going? So, Mark, we've got our buddy Zach here tonight. I'm super excited for Zach to be here with us. Welcome, Zach.
Well, thank you.
Excellent. How's everything been going over there with you, Marcus?
Really great. Very excited about this too. I got so many great questions for Zach.
Absolutely. And for everybody else here in the chat that doesn't know, we've got Zach over here with us who actually played Marcus Buff Bagwell in his Dark Side of the Ring episode. Absolutely amazing. We saw these silhouettes and it was like, I did a double take when I saw this because you looked exactly like Marcus in all of those little silhouettes that you see, even the close-ups. It's incredible what they were able to do with you. I know Marcus has a ton of questions. I'm going to kind of turn it over to him because this is amazing, and certainly want to, of course, thank you for joining us tonight too, because this is a real treat for both of us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're very excited about this. Is great. So again, man, to do the Dark Side of the Ring episode. So first question is, how old are you?
I'm 24 years old.
24. So did you, and please, I want you to be very honest with this because I'm very transparent. I come at things very honest. So I want you to be very honest with this. Did you know who Buff Bagwell was?
Yeah.
How did you know at 24 who I was?
Because I've been around wrestling for all my life. My dad's been like a booker, promoter, referee. He's done everything around wrestling in Quebec, except wrestle. So I've been around wrestling for all my life, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm a professional wrestler, and that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. So this is something you're even looking into doing. So, with that said, were you a fan of Buff Bagwell?
Yes. Like when I started wrestling, I was looking around people who I could like take teams from, and Buff was one. And I do like the kind of same pose as you, the double biceps. And I'm always like looking away, instead of looking to the camera. And I've seen you like doing a big smile and looking at the camera, so I've started doing that too.
That'll be great. You should. So when I first saw the Dark Side of the Ring episode, the first thing I thought of when I watched it is, oh my God, how did they get that footage of me? Because that's not me. And I realized it wasn't me. So the first thing I thought was they had to spend a lot of money on. I thought they went and found some kind of AI thing because you don't know this being as young as you are, but your mannerisms, the way you walked into the room. I was going, how'd they get that footage of me? The only reason I knew it wasn't me is the number 5 jersey you had on wasn't my jersey. I'd never had that type of jersey. And I was like, God, that's unbelievable. I was like, the only thing that was a little bad, the only thing was the top hat was horrible. But your mannerisms, the way your body is, the way you walk, the way you put all of it, man, I was like blown away, blown away. So how did the Dark Side of the Ring approach you?
I've been doing some wrestlers with Dark Side of the Ring for like the past year. So I've been the Chris Candido episodes was me. I also did Kerry Von Erich in the 3rd season. I did some Ric Flair too, so like they knew me from before, and they were looking for someone that could fit the role, and they contacted me, and I was like, for sure, I want to do it.
That's great. That's fantastic. So, did you talk to a lady named Tara?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Tara is who originally reached out to me to do the Dark Side of the Ring episode, and By any chance, do you know who played my mother?
Oh, I could found her name because I think I still have like the sheets in my emails. I could found the name, but right now I don't remember.
Well, if you get a chance, we'll get back with you on that because we may have her on, Chase. Because
Absolutely,
the
that would be
woman,
great.
the woman that played my mother, I was trying to figure out where they got that footage of my mother because Zach knows me from television, but he don't know me how I walk into a room, and he
Right.
walked into a room the way he reached for the gun, the way everything you did was just like my mannerisms, and everything that woman did, like my mother, was unbelievable. It was uncanny how great it was. But you really made you really made my episode look fantastic because you did a great job at what they had laid out. But Dark Side of the Ring, they do it right, man. They do it right. But to reach out to you to do it, it's fantastic. I'm glad that you're a fan. I'm glad that you're doing the wrestling thing. So how long have you been trying to be a pro wrestler?
For August 14, last that just came up, it was my third year.
Third year. Okay.
Wow.
So at 24, are you trying to, is your ultimate goal the WWE?
My my ultimate goal will be to like main event WrestleMania for the belt, but my goal in wrestling is just to live out of it. So like the only thing that I think is how can I just live of wrestling, and when I can do that, it's gonna be like main event of WrestleMania and things like that.
Wow.
So you want to make a
That's great.
living, make a living as a pro wrestler.
That's my goal,
Excellent. That's
and
awesome.
other goal that needs that first.
Sure. Of course. Of
Do
course.
you have a regular job right now?
Yeah,
What do you do?
I work in restoration.
Okay. So what is your gimmick right now as a pro wrestler?
Uh, I am the Diamond, Zach Patterson. So I'm very cocky, arrogant. I believe that I'm the best and I should have everything handed to me because I'm a prodigy at this. So that's how Zach Patterson walk into a room and think he's the best, and everything has to come up to him.
That sounds
So
familiar.
yeah, right. That sounds really familiar. So you're a heel.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great. I love it. So now who trained you?
I was my first year as a trainee was with Drew Onnate at Torture Chamber. I think it's the best place for like the basics and how to walk into a ring. But after I had to switch to know how to wrestle and how to build a match, so I went with Speedball Mike Bailey. That's like my wrestling dad. He showed me everything that I know today.
Great. And how's no injuries or anything? You're all healthy?
Nothing big. Before I started wrestling, like 6 months before starting, I broke my ankle, but that was my worst injury since I've begun to train.
Okay. Good, good, good. Yeah. So how much did the Dark Side of the Ring episode, how much did you charge them to shoot that for them?
I didn't choose that because I'm not like in any organization. So they offered me that's what we're giving you, and I just accepted it.
Okay, so it was just a kind of a flat rate, and you said thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
see
good
when they
opportunity too, for sure.
really good opportunity.
Yeah.
So when they approached me, I knew I had a story that was unbelievable. I knew I had a story that was a great story. It was a story of a guy that shot his father, and the father lived to be on the episode. 2 ex-wives on there. I mean, the story that I told, it's a crazy, crazy story that I thought was told really well by the dark side, but I knew it was a good one. So they were great about everything, and we worked a good deal out. And same thing, they offered me something, and she said, it's not going to be a life-changing payoff. And I thought, man, that's a lot of money by saying just that even. So, but it was a great, I really wish I could have been part of the Who Killed WCW, but I wasn't. And that really upset me, because I would love to be a part of that, just because I was there for all of it, I was there for the entire ride, but they're a great company. They do a lot of great stuff. And Tara was fantastic, but to pick you and find you, it was really, they had to be very excited to see that, because you look, especially, silhouette wise, you look exactly like me, and you move, and your mannerisms are uncanny. So congratulations. A great job, brother. What questions, Chase, do you got for him?
Well, I want to just pull up these photos here first off, because there's a lot of people that may have not even seen this. And if you haven't seen this episode, you can actually find it on, I know Amazon Prime has it available. You can buy the episode. You can buy the whole series if you want to. But this is Zach here playing Marcus Buff Bagwell. And we've got a couple images here. So this one, tell me a little bit about this, Zach.
Yeah.
This was, I imagine, in the dressing room getting prepared for, your debut as Buff.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the first thing that they made me do. And they put lights, because I can't grow hair on my face. It's just impossible for me. So I went to hair and makeup. They put the beard on. I had to cut my hair just a bit, so my hair could look just like you. And when I was dressed up and they were ready to film, we just went on. They showed me what they wanted me to recreate, and I just did it as I was Buff.
Okay, so what did they show you to say, hey, here's what he is? What was the first video you saw that they would want you to kind of look like?
I think they showed me your Titantron. So with all the poses and the music behind, so I just looked at you and went with the same pose, the same everything, and just did it.
That's great. You did such a great job. But you see what I'm talking about, Chase. Look how bad the hat is.
Yeah, it's a rough one there. I noticed
that
as well. You don't notice it in the silhouettes though. So I mean, that's kind of and I think it's the angles that they work, because this is pretty straight on here. But like this, it doesn't look bad at all here.
No, it does. Looks great.
But yeah, it's definitely it's not your shape, and this is you too. I mean, this is crazy.
I mean, that is me holding the gun, and that is my mother right there. I mean, it's her, except it's just not.
Right.
That's crazy. Incredible. So, like, when you saw the story, Zach, did you think that was a crazy story? Did you know the story, or did you just shoot the part and then watch it all when it came out?
Oh no, I didn't know the story, but they show, because what they do is they film you. They film Bob, they film the ex-wives, they film everyone to have the story, and after that they put templates of like recreation, Buff shooting his dad. So they explain what they want with the scene, and I just do it. But
I mean, do you ask any questions like he shot his dad?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell's going on here? Before doing the scene, I just had a sheet with like the title of the scene, and that was it. They didn't explain me anything, so until the day I filmed it, I didn't know what was really going on.
Well, man, you nailed it, bro. I mean, it was the story's a little messed up, if I'm right, Chase. They got the shooting going on in the kitchen. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, actually, I can pull this back up, because you can actually see that this is clearly inside the house, and that's not where it went down. But I think that was the only discrepancy that we encountered with that, because we recently filmed a video that'll be out soon with your direct recollection of this event here.
And in the event, Zach, just so you know, the true shooting, this is the only thing that the dark side got wrong. And the only reason I got to correct it is my name is on the line here, which is the story I've told 1,000, 10,000 times is the true story, the right story, which is this shooting happens outside, but it's the fight started in the kitchen where when you see him reach for the gun on the refrigerator and all of that was, I mean, it was perfect, except it all kind of happened outside. When we go outside of the house, when the doorbell rang, and when my mom went outside, he told me to get outside and get all the keys out of the cars. Nobody was leaving. So when I went outside to do that, that's when he came out and shot the tires out of the car my mom was trying to leave in. And he drug my mother out of the driver's side window. And when he did, I noticed that the cable guy that had rang the doorbell, he witnessed this. And when he did, it was a medical blackout is what I call it, because when you say a blackout, people think drugs. I was 18 years old. I knew what drugs was, but I never even heard of a blackout before. But without any alcohol, any drugs involved, I blacked out. I don't know, from anger. I'm sure a doctor could explain this to me, but I went away. I ran through the house and got a gun, come past the refrigerator where guns have been my whole life. I go to my dad's closet and get a gun, come back outside. And then when I got back outside, I was back in play. And I said, hey, motherfucker. I said, you want to pop some caps? And dad looked at me, and I pulled the gun up. And the next 2 minutes, it seemed, I was shooting that gun. It went into slow motion. I said, shoot the windshield out and make a point. And I shoot the windshield out and make a point. And then I said, kill him. My brain said, kill him. And I remember putting it over on him. And the next 3 squeezes was trying to kill him. A year later, when I talked to my father about this incident, he said that I squeezed him off so fast that he thought it was my .45 automatic.
Oh shit!
He said it was like pow, 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 pow. But to me, it was, I mean, it was a 2-minute ordeal. But it hit him in the arm and broke his bones in his arm. He had plates and screws in his arm. But I said, nobody really knows. And it's such a great, well-told story on Dark Side. But the only difference is it did happen outside. And, but man, you did a great job. And it was have you actually watched the episode back?
Yeah. As soon as it dropped, I was going to watch it.
Yeah, it was I thought it was really well done. I really did. I was very satisfied, very happy for all of it. It's like I said, it's a story that told a little bit of a different way. It could be a very bad story, but the way they told it, which was the truth, and not straying off of it, I thought that Dark Side did a great job with it, and including you as well, how great of a job it really was. But really appreciate you making the show better, because you really did make it, for me, you made it extremely much better because of the way you acted. You acted like me, and you made it look real, which is what we're supposed to do. You acted a character, and you did a great job.
Thank you very much.
Now, what type of prep went into it in terms of, did you have to watch footage for a long period of time, or did they just kind of show it to you and expect you to just, get into it right away? Because, I mean, I have to imagine you're not a professional actor, right? You're a pro wrestler. So, I mean, that's tough to do if you have to do it on the spot.
But it was on the spot, and like
Wow.
as a wrestler, we're kind of used to that. So I just like, before doing the shows, I just watch highlights and Titan.
Sure.
That's it. And when I
Wow.
watched the show, they showed me, okay, we want you to do that. That's Buff when he was doing his entrance. That's the scene in the ring that we want. etc. And I was just like, okay, let's do it.
So
Excellent.
when you did do it, did they say, "Oh my God, that was really good"?
They don't say it really. They
Really,
just
I was just wondering. Maybe
like,
they're like, "Hey, just like that," or "No, a little less of this," or
yeah, they point out things. Sometimes they want me to talk, even like if we don't hear me, just
right.
get in the pose. But yeah, they tell me spin a bit more or move like that or do this. But usually I was pretty on point when it was just minor things that they pointed out.
Yes. Well, Zach, what that's called the it factor. You have the it factor, and that's something you can't teach. It's something you can't learn in a wrestling ring. It's just something that you have or you don't, and it's going to be something that'll follow you the rest of your life. Because when you got the it factor, you're going to do something. You're going to be somewhere. You're going to do something big because there's not a class on teaching that what the feeling is you had when you looked at something and were able to do it. I did what they call faked it till I made it. Fake it till you make it is what they say. And buddy, I I took the best class at that, and I faked it till I made it. And I say that in the realm of meaning I didn't really fake it. I was trying to get better, but I was at WCW way before I should have been. I really knew how to watch what they were. I could do what they asked me to do. And when you can do what Rick Rude is asking you to do and then look good doing it, you've got a job. And that's what I could do. I could do what they asked the rookie kid to do. And at the same time, they're getting a victory over a kid that looks pretty good. And it was just a good spot. I mean, I remember finally going, Dusty, am I ever going to win a match? And it don't matter, brother. You're good. I go, Dusty, yes, it does. He said, they'll never remember these losses. And I thought he was crazy, but he was right. When as soon as I started winning, nobody remembered me losing for a year. You know, they were rooting behind Marcus Alexander Bagwell, the rookie. But you did a great job, fantastic, and you do have the it factor.
Thank you very much. It really means a lot for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I mean, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight. Now, I've actually linked to your Instagram, so everybody that's watching, jump over to the description of this video. You could check out his Instagram. You follow him over there if you're on Instagram. Great way to support Zach, of course. And is there anything else that we could plug for you? Are you doing anything that you want to shout out here?
Everywhere it's Zach underscore Patterson underscore W, but I'm wrestling in Quebec all over there. Also, if there's any booker or promoter in the States, I'm willing to come at any time. I just want to wrestle. I just want to make a living out of it. And that's my only goal.
Excellent.
The golden rule when Missy Hyatt helped me get in this business. She said, when you go to these shows, sometimes there may not be a payday, and sometimes there may be, really no money there. She goes, your job is to learn this craft. She goes, so it don't matter about the money for you. She goes, you're trying to make it. The $25 payoffs, the $10, $50 payoffs. She goes, it doesn't matter. You're trying to learn your craft. So I remember so many times the promoter coming in and going, hey guys, there's a hot dog and Coke for you, and I was like, hey, somebody else eat my hot dog and Coke, and then I'm going to go out and wrestle and learn. And I'd wrestle in front of 5 people at a skating rink, so it was crazy, but it's something you should take along with yourself and learn that. And that's just every time you climb in that ring, you got a chance of getting a little better and learning your craft a little more. So just do it. And I'm telling you, at 24, I think you got a chance at this thing. And, we'll stay in touch as well, because I know a lot of people, and maybe from this episode, we'll know some more, but maybe you can send me a video and stuff. It's a little tough with the Canadian border thing, getting over and back and forth. It's people don't know this, but Canada is a really hard place to get into. Not just if you're a troublemaker like me. It really is a tough. You think Canada is just right there, but it's tough. It's tough to get in Canada. They don't. If you broke the law at all, and God knows I have. They don't like you. They don't like you in there. So there's a special paper. Me and Scott Steiner used to always have to fill out a bunch of paperwork to get in there, and that's with a major billion-dollar company behind you. TBS and WCW, and it still was a big deal for us to go to Canada every time. But regardless, I think there'll be some chances I can help you, and there's some Canadian bookers as well. So I think in the future we'll get together, and maybe you can send me a tape of your wrestling, and maybe me be able to give you some pointers along with give you some work.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Love it. And I have obviously both your emails. I'll get you guys in contact with each other directly too. So we'll make that happen. But everybody in the chat, jump over, and everybody watching this later on too, because a lot of people watch this after we're already done with the actual live. Check out the description of this video. Give him a like, and of course, follow on Instagram as well. Thank you so much, Zach. We have one question here for you. Zach, what's your finisher?
My finisher right now is weird because I'm kind of looking for something that's thick. As of right now, my finisher is a torture rack that I spin the guy and give him a GTS, knee strike behind the head.
Okay.
With the same knee that I have his leg. So like I'm spitting his leg and knee strike diagonally.
All right, well that's different. That's not one that you see a lot out there. So that's awesome.
Try to keep this in mind. A little advice. As you know, the torture rack is a pretty tough move.
Yep.
Getting the guy up and all that. You want to be able to, and this is something that a Triple H, anybody in this business, Eric Bischoff, any boss I've ever had, they would tell you that for your finishing move, you've got to be able to do it to everybody. So keep that in mind when you're doing that. Could you do that move to Big Van Vader when he was alive? You got to keep in mind to try to be able to know you can do it to everybody, because if this finish gets over and you can't do it to everybody, then it's going to be a little tough. Like the rack. How's Lex going to rack the Big Show? And it was tough, but he did. It was crazy. Yokozuna, he slammed Yokozuna, but you've got to be able to try to do it to everybody. So good luck with your finish, and get it down pat and get a good name for it.
That's why I'm kind of trying to do a submission too as a finish. That's what I'm teasing in some of my matches as of right now. But yeah, that's something that my coach told me, my dad told me. But that's why I'm looking for something to stick and that I can do it to everybody.
Yes. Well, good luck with that, and good luck with your career, brother.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Zach. Really appreciate you. We'll let you go. Enjoy your evening, and this will be available for everybody to watch afterwards. So we'll get your name out there a little bit, and hopefully it'll help you, and I'll get you guys in touch with each other.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. You take care now. Awesome guy. Awesome.
Right. What a strong accent. I didn't. That was. I don't think I've ever personally talked to a Canadian that had that strong of an accent, man. He's like, that was strong.
Yep.
Have you had a talk like that before where the Canadian voice was that strong?
I know some hockey guys that are,
really?
that's big up there. So yeah. Some hockey players that are, have that strong accent. So yeah, a little bit.
But that's still incredible how that came down. I mean, I can imagine, them coming to me and saying, "Hey, do this." It's tough to do, man. But
absolutely,
he does have the it factor. Just because you got to be able to do that, there's not a lot of people that you can say, "Hey, do this," and then you do it halfway okay. And instead, he did it 100% okay. So that's really great. I think he's gonna have a good career.
For sure. And to be able to do the scenes that he was able to do, you got to remember, he's filming this show that we all got to watch. So he's just hearing or reading off of a sheet of paper, what he's supposed to, basically translate for everybody visually. And he did a phenomenal job. I'm really impressed by that. Yeah, he really brought it to life, and
it
furthered the
really,
story.
really. Keep in mind too on the mother. Let's keep that in mind. Maybe we'll bring the mother that played Judy Bagwell on.
That would be awesome. That would be great, and we can reach out to him. Maybe he can put us in contact with whoever would have cast that individual, and that would be great for sure. And that was actually tonight's video. Right before this, we did the Judy Bagwell video, so that was good. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed that. Anybody in the chat see the Judy Bagwell video that was out tonight about her becoming a world tag team champion with Rick Steiner? Incredible.
Crazy. I'd forgotten about the 2001 video of my calves. I did a show in Canada called something vain. Insanity Vanity.
Oh, I saw a segment of that. I thought you said your cats. I was like, where are we going today?
Calves.
I heard calves.
Sorry.
No, it's me.
Calves. But on the calves thing, it was called Vanity, Insanity, or the other way around.
Yep.
And they pulled it up on the dark side, and my mom was there, and it really, again, it made the dark side episode even that much better because they could relate that there's my mother, and then now she's in the silhouette there helping me, trying to get me shoot my father and all that. So it was very, very, very surreal. But yeah, it was good to see her on that video. I ain't seen her on TV in a long time.
Excellent. All right, guys, we're going to jump into the chat a little bit. I didn't want to feel like you guys were getting neglected or anything like that, but we wanted to start off with Zach. I know you had some other stuff to do today, so we wanted to jump into all that stuff right out of the gate here. But let's see what we've got. We've got Mark here, who, Buff, I'm the one who met you in Crown Point, Indiana last week. My mom's name is Judy also. I sent you the email with the pic from the meet and greet. Thanks for responding in email so quick. That's awesome. Love that.
Yeah, this guy's a really good guy. I met him in Crown Point, and as I was signing the autograph, I said, he goes, "It's not for me, it's for my mom, Judy." And I go, "Oh my God." I said, "Well," that's the first thing I said. I go, "What's her middle name?" And he told me, but it wasn't Ann, which is my mother's. And I thought, oh my God, it's going to be crazy. So big fans. It was him and his brother, him and his friend, one or the other, but his mother's going through cancer treatments, and that's why she couldn't make it. And he sent me an email, and like I do, I reached out and told him thanks. It was so nice to meet him as well. And so hello, Mark, how you doing, brother? And he was with a brother or his friend, I'm not sure. Both very super nice guys. Really great event we did. It was for veterans with PTSD.
Oh, wow.
And we had bikers. It was like a bikers gang that backed it. So this, that did the fundraiser, and there was called Severed Souls. And so shout out to Severed Souls in Crown Point, Indiana. They're a local bike gang, and Adam Warnoff, he's the one that kind of runs the whole thing, and is really, really a great guy. So shout out to Severed Souls.
Love it. It's excellent. And Mark, best of luck with mom. Wish her all the best. Let's see. We've got Mr. Joe OK. What up, Buff? First time in your stream. This is dope. Very nice. Well, that's a great way to put it. I'm glad that you're enjoying yourself here. We're having a blast as well. So love it.
So telling my age a little bit, I'm getting my hair cut yesterday. And I'm telling this, she's asking me about, I hear you're a pro wrestler. And I go, yes, ma'am, I used to be. And she was 20. And I said, I've been coming here longer than you've been old. I said that. And she goes, how old are you? And she goes, I'm 20. I said, oh, wow. I said, you're so young. So she kept asking questions. So I told her some stuff. And then, but when I would tell her something, she would say, slay. And I went, oh my God, I am so old.
Hey, and that makes me feel old. I haven't heard that one.
I said, do what? She goes, slay. And I went, wow. I said, man, am I old. So the word, brother, is slay.
Slay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she didn't say like you slayed. You didn't slay that or slayed.
Just slay.
Slay.
Slay. Okay.
Yeah, slay.
Hey, you're making me hip now, Mark.
Telling you, bro.
Great.
That's good. You gotta, well, two minds work good. We'll pull it out together.
There we go. There we go. All right. Well, I hope that this is Slay. And there you go. He just found out he's this stuff. I mean, he just proved he's this stuff right here because he's teaching me new terms, and I'm about 20 years younger than him. So,
what
Marcus Buff
age?
Bagwell, what age did you realize you were the stuff?
That's actually a good question, Marcus Bagwell. At what age did you realize you were the stuff? And it's actually a great question because it got me thinking. So, because it wasn't at a young age. I've shared this several times, but at a very young age, I was very unhappy with my body. I was a very skinny kid. So when I got old enough to realize it, I wanted to fix it. At a very young age, I won the gold. I remember wearing boxing trunks, and of course, Everlast, and my mom found them somehow and had them specially made and all that. And my little boots were roller skates that she had fixed to look like boxing boots, but I didn't know I was skinny back then because I was just a kid. So at 10, 11 years old, who cares? Well, when high school happens, this is even middle school, like maybe 6th, 7th grade, I remember my skinniness started to bother me. My skinny legs would be what I heard a lot next several years, which was, your legs are skinny. And so I would actually wear a pair of long johns under my jeans in the dead of summer because I felt like it made my legs look a little bigger, or my jeans fit a little tighter, whatever it was. It was a really big self-conscious thing I had about my legs. So by no means did I feel like I was the stuff going through that. So I think it would have actually been, like maybe the end of my sophomore year, which would have been my first cycle of steroids. I would have taken my first cycle of steroids and I gained 30 pounds. I went from 145 to 175. And you still don't know it yet. I've been on summer break where none of the kids saw me. I've been locked into a gym and just dedicating my life to getting bigger and better. And so you don't really know, when you're watching yourself grow, you don't really see it. Your shirts are getting tighter and your pant size goes up, but you really just don't know it. When I walked down the hall of Sprayberry High School, it was like I was an alien. I mean, people are like, what? Oh my, what did you, 30 pounds on a kid that weighs 145. It's got to be a lot, because the eyes I was getting was like, what happened to you, man? It was all good stuff. So I would think somewhere, and that was the very beginning. So I would say somewhere in the 1986 area, I would start thinking that I thought I may be the stuff.
Wow. Much later than one would think,
Much later.
Yeah. And your steroids video was great here from NChess. That was a great one. I love how transparent you were. And the first time that we really sat down and talked to each other, that was the first thing that you said to me. I'm 100% transparent. I want you to be the same way. And that always stuck with me. So really commend you on that, because that is very much a transparent and honest, raw, uncut video where you lay it all out. I love that.
I spoke about this a few times before. From being a transparent person, I think it originally started with, I wanted to do the right thing, of course, but then sometimes doing the right thing, you still don't want people to know about it. Sure. Because it could be, they could be against it or something. But what I found in that transition is that it was harder to lie and be dishonest. It was much harder for me to do that than just to tell the truth and be accepted like you are. It was too much work. So out of being honest, you get two things for you. You get an easier life, and you're a better person. So to me, at the 25-year-old age area, it became very obvious that I was not going to be a liar. I was extremely transparent about everything we did, as transparent as you could be. You know, I mean, with wrestling, it was pretty ugly, but everybody, you know, it wasn't like we were hiding. We were very open about everything, and then my recovery and sobriety. I'm extremely open about that, because it just, again, you're a better person being honest. And at the same time, it's easier, man. I watched my neighbor.
Oh, yeah.
I watched my neighbor for years lie to his wife, and it was hard for me to keep up with. I was like, oh my God, bro. I go, I mean, how are you keeping up with all that? It was crazy. So that was not the avenue I was going to take. And with my lifestyle, it was going to be keeping up with a lot of lies. And I didn't have the energy, the time. It was better to say, here I am. And if you like me, you like me. And if you don't, you don't.
Well, it saves time. It streamlines the process for not only you, but for everybody around you too. You know, you get what you get, and you know, you either like it or you don't. But let me ask you this: Did you have to keep, obviously the steroids you had to keep under wraps, you know, at that point in time, because you know, WCW had it, you know, banned, even though they probably knew, you know, who was using it and all that stuff. But even afterwards, at what point could you open up and start talking about this? Did you have to be, you know, X amount of years removed from, you know, being active on the WCW roster? Like, when did you feel safe to really open up about the steroids?
I mean, as you're asking me, I'm trying to realize it. And really, to be totally honest with you, the video we did.
Wow.
But let me tell you why. Because in life, like, for example, I'm in the DUI court of Cobb County. There is no more transparent thing than the DUI court of Cobb County. So I do a drug test about 4 days a week. So they know everything that's in my body. And if they don't know, you go to jail for it. And I mean, it could be a supplement that you forgot to tell them. You may have forgot it, and now you can put it on this piece of paper, but forgetting, you're going to jail for 24 hours. It's no joke. And so, to be honest with you, and even when me and you talked about it, I was a little uncomfortable, because you're talking about something that can send you to jail. It's a prison. It's against the law. But in the day, you know, I couldn't have gone on a video like this and told. So, to be honest with you, to answer your question, very recently was the first time I could ever do it. And we did it on the video. So people are seeing on that topic, a very transparent, for the first time ever, talking about that, because there's nothing, I can't get in trouble for that. There's not a 7-year.
Yeah, of course.
There's not a thing like that. And so, still, I do feel a little uncomfortable doing it, because it's against the law. So you got to be careful. But with my life being so transparent, I really enjoy the transparency. To me, I get a high from the transparency that everybody knows my story, and I'm okay with that. And it's an ugly story in some parts. It's a very ugly story, but it's the truth. And if everybody was true about their lives, it would be a little ugly in spots. But I'm very transparent about that, because it makes me feel good. It makes my walk with my sobriety and my walk with God, it makes that a better walk.
I was gonna say exactly that. You know, I think it's a really crucial part of your sobriety and everything you have going on now, and bringing your life into a, you know, a positive light. So I love that. We have this question here: how did May 23rd, 1999 affect you? Owen Hart. Am I correct on that? Owen Hart.
I'm not sure. It sounds right.
So I could be wrong. Owen Hart's death.
So how did it affect me? It didn't really affect me bad, because I didn't know Owen. You know, I wasn't really a fan of Owen's. He wasn't a fan of Buff Bagwell either. We didn't know each other. But of course, when you hear something that devastating, the effect was feeling really bad about it, because if you did the math, the building they were in when he died was the Kemper Arena in St. Louis. And we were in the building really close after that. And Sting didn't want to repel. He said, I don't want to repel tonight, out of being, you know, just a little bit scared, and just out of respect. I don't want to repel in the same building that Owen Hart died in. So we hung him upside down and we did stuff to him. And that's the night that they dumped all the blood in the ring for the new blood stuff. But Jeff Jarrett was doing an interview when and I didn't know they were this good of friends till the AEW stuff lately. But
Yeah.
him and Owen and Jeff were huge friends. I didn't know that. And
very close.
I remember talking to Jeff about he was doing an interview with Deborah McMichael and saw Owen fall. Now, I'll tell you this much. I do remember this, that it was such a big deal that Vince didn't stop the show.
Yeah.
I remember that was a real big deal. And I think we won a lot of battles on that one because people were like, man, that's wrong. And they started changing that channel a little bit. I really believe that channel switched a little bit quicker because they were mad at Vince for not stopping the show for his death.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think out of respect, that's something that, you would I see both sides of it. I mean, everybody in the chat, what's your take on that? Because that's, I mean, still all these years later, that's a controversial one. People see it one way or another. And I actually have been chipping away at the Vince McMahon docuseries on Netflix, and actually the last little bit of it, because I've been just doing 15, 20 minutes at a time, and the last little bit that I watched was on that exactly, where they're talking about, should he have stopped the show? Should he have continued as he did? And they made mention of the blood stain on the apron, and they made it seem like that was Owens, and I don't believe that it was. So that's one thing that I just picked up on, where I think that you're seeing them kind of target him a little bit more than they probably needed to, because I don't believe that was his blood from, because he had internal injuries, obviously. So I thought that was,
whose blood was it then?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'll have to look at because I believe they had a hardcore match before that. I would imagine somebody bled, but you had a lot of guys and this was when blading was big at the time as well for them, the Attitude Era. I believe it was somebody else that had bled around that same spot where he had fallen, but I'm almost positive it wasn't his, and maybe the chat can help me out here. Let's see.
Yeah. So also, what do we actually know what he died from? I know what I heard, but do we know factually what he died from?
I thought it was internal bleeding from, falling all that distance, but I'm not 100% sure on, exactly what it was.
So what I was told, and again, this is told, and I think by somebody like a Jeff Jarrett, somebody with some honesty and truthfulness, of course, but it was when he fell, and again, this is just what I heard, when he fell, that his neck hit the turnbuckle and it broke his neck.
Yeah, that could be.
Wow, that's a vicious thing, but he didn't hurt too long, I can tell you, man. So it's a horrible way to go, man. To fall at your death of the business you're in, you love it so much. That's a horrible tragedy, and that's why Sting didn't want to repel that night. I totally understand.
Right. And I believe the way that, at least, I don't know about that night, but he would repel face down, because his whole thing was he was doing the superhero gimmick, the blue blazer, and he would go out, belly down, whereas Sting would be going feet first. Not that that's, I mean, from that distance, is it going to save you? No, probably not. But that certainly would, make sense that he would hit his neck on a turnbuckle coming down the way that he would have been coming. That makes sense. Yeah, tragic, just absolutely devastating. I remember, the newspapers the next day, all that stuff. It's just absolutely devastating.
Yeah, it is.
And we've got one here from Askabum. Who are your top 5 toughest shoot wrestlers? And we kind of did a video about your stiffest, I guess, toughest shoot wrestlers, a little bit different. So who would your top 5 be?
I think it's pretty close though. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I need to give a shout out to my dad, Steve Bagwell. I went and saw him today, and I hope the nurse got his phone turned on. But we're trying to get his phone where he can watch the podcast. So nice. I love you, Dad. Good to see you. If you're watching, buddy, I love you, Steve Bagwell, my hero,
and a Hall of Famer in drag racing.
NHRA Hall of Famer Steve Bagwell, Super Stock Division world champion. drag racer and Hall of Famer, big time superstar in drag racing. So that's a great thing. It's a cool, again, if you don't like cars, it's no big deal. If you like cars, it's a big deal.
No, absolutely.
And so it's a big deal. He's in the Hall of Fame and the National Hot Rod Association Hall of Fame, which is, the Big Daddy Don Garlits and all them guys. So it's a really, really great thing. And he loves talking about his drag racing days. And he loves his son, Buff Bagwell, brother. Woo. So yeah, so shout out to Daddy. But so top 5 toughest guys, shoot, stiff. You're right, Chase. It's all about the same thing. So in this order is my 5, and I got to think a little bit about it, but not too long. It's Ming and Barbarian, 1 and 2, either way you want to put them.
Yep.
And then three, man. And again, this is my opinion. It's my 3, but I would say Rick Rude is that 3rd spot, man. He's just the most intimidating man that I've ever been in the ring with. I really felt like at any time that he could just decide to snap me in half, and there was nothing I could do about it. Like Goldberg, Saint, you would think you'd have the same feeling. Scott and Rick Steiner, you think you would have the same feeling as that. This was different, brother. It was maybe because he was older, but he just had that. He just had that about him, man. That he just had that aura. Is the word, that aura about him.
I gotcha. That
was crazy. And he'd be number 3. And then, I put Rick or Scott number 4. And, tough shoot wrestlers. Benoit wasn't big, but he was tough. He would be close to that 5.
It's an intense individual, to say the least.
Yeah. So, that's a good 5, tipping off with Chris, but he was definitely intense. Yeah, I was trying to think. Who else am I thinking? Anybody else, Chase? You
I
can
think who else would have been in your top 5? I believe you had
Sid's tough.
Right?
Sid's tough, but he's not that tough. He's not intense tough. Orndorff's a good 5. 5, I'd have like an extra 3 or 4 5s. If I could get a few extra 5s, it would be the Orndorff. I saw beat up Vader. I watched him do it. It was incredible. Benoit, it's that groups are intense. Kurt Henning's a really tough guy. Road Warrior Hawk was tough. So there's a tie at 5, but that's a good 4 for sure.
Sure. Now, would these be people that you think are unsafe, or are you just talking about people that are stiff? When they throw a punch, it's there, you feel it. Because unsafe to me would be something very different, right? That would be somebody that you're afraid they're going to hurt you out there, and you're going to come out, come back through the curtain with an injury, that's going to stay with you.
Rick Rude was the closest to you thinking you were hurt, but you could tell he wasn't trying to hurt you. Okay. So everybody that wrestled, in other words, when you hear about wrestling Buff Bagwell, it's not going to be a majority that says he's stiff. People that wrestle Rick Rude, the majority is he's stiff, never reckless. One of the best wrestlers I've ever wrestled, mechanically, everything, one of the best. But he was scary stiff because he was so tall, and he was 6'4", 6'5", and he was so big and he could move so quick that he would throw that forearm, and you were like, "Whoa, man! Did he mean to do that?" And but you just kind of knew 2 things you thought of. What am I going to do about it? and I'm hoping maybe he don't do that again. And if he does it again and it's even, you can go along with it. So I'm not sure if I ever told you this story or not, but I was in the ring wrestling Rick Rude for the very first time ever. And we go down, we're talking over our match, and we go over the match and everything. It's like a 10 or 11 minute match. And this is in the very beginning. And it's against Rick Rude, and he's the U.S. champion, and Paul Heyman is his manager. And I am Mr. Green rookie, Marcus Alexander Bagwell. And it's early. And when I watched the match back, I think this is probably one of the worst matches I ever had, because I just didn't do nothing. I could tell I didn't want to do anything. I just kind of just was scared and nervous, and the stuff I did do looked horrible. So I was very green and nervous. But I remember getting in the ring with Rick after going over what we were going to do, and when we got in the ring, our eyes met, and he was looking at me. I mean, well, he was looking at somebody behind me, and I went, man, who is he looking at like that? And then as I focused in, I turned around and looked behind me, and he was talking to me.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he was looking at me, and I went,
yeah.
Oh my God. And I said, I was like, hey, brother, do you remember me? I'm the guy that just went over this match together. But he flipped a switch, brother, that was business, and he went to work. And for the next 10 minutes, I just held on for dear life and was very scared and nervous. And it was one of my worst matches ever because I just didn't do much. But I remember just feeling like I got beat up for 10 minutes. I learned a lot from that, though, because it ain't like Rick didn't know what he was doing. You know, he knew I was green, and he just kind of went out there and ate me up, you know. But it was very, very polite about it, very nice about it. But I looked really stupid for 10 minutes.
Worse than with Randy Savage?
Yes, because I just didn't know better. No, Randy's was much worse because I knew what Randy was doing. And
what can you do about it?
I was upset.
Main event,
I was upset at Randy. I'm like, really, Randy? I mean, if somebody ain't on board with you, you're not going to fix it. So I just kind of went with it out of respect. He's the macho man, but it really hurt my feelings. With Rick, I was just glad it was over, and I'm glad I was alive. With Randy, I was mad. I was like, God, Randy, really? I mean, you just ruined a main event Thunder.
Sure. Yeah, and that would have been, I mean, Randy's one of my all-time favorites too. So it would have been such a great match, I think, if, you know, you guys both went into it the right way. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see that. So it's one of those missed opportunities for not only you guys, but also for, of course, the fans too.
Absolutely.
We've got one here from Grandma Daisy here. NWO, Harris Brothers. I assume any good stories?
Oh, God, 10,000. So we're talking about the twin boys, right? The Harris brothers, right?
Yes.
So the Harris brothers, so they were at WCW a lot. I remember the first time I saw these guys at the center stage, and I remember I was just in the back, just kind of getting from one locker room to the other, and center stage was a little small building. And I remember like glancing at the ring and then just focusing in like, who is that? And it was two giant guys that looked incredible, not like bodybuilders, but they were fit, they were in shape, and had long lion taming hair. I mean, just incredible. And I was like, and their work was incredible. I was like, oh my God, these guys are the best I've ever seen. And their match was incredible. And then it wasn't too long after that, we went down to do Disney tapings in Orlando. And I don't know this for sure, but I'm 99% sure on this because I did talk to him, but I don't know the whole facts. But it came back to me and Del Wilkes, the Patriot, we were the World Tag Team Champs at the time. And they didn't want to lose to us.
Wow.
And they lost their job over it.
Really?
And I remember talking to, I think it's Ron and Don, I think. I'm pretty sure their names are Ron and Don. And I was like, brother, are you serious? I mean, you're going to lose your job over this? And then I think I didn't see him for the longest time after that. And then when they came back, it was their hair was shaved and the hair was gone. And they were going to be the two spokesmen for Vince Russo.
Oh, that's right.
They were going to be the voice for Russo, and that's what they were. And they had a good little run with WCW at the end there.
Yeah, Ron and Don, you're correct.
Ron and Don Harris.
Yep. And here's
great guys. I love them both.
And from Adam here, David Flair winning the U.S. title. Did this piss people off?
Well, it may not have pissed people off, but it pissed me off.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Oh God, I never was the U.S. champion, and that's one they could have gave me. I felt
For
like I
sure.
deserved
There were some
the
great
U.S.
US
belt.
champs. Yeah.
Yeah, the U.S. belt, the TV title. That was some things I think they could have let me at least play with a little bit if they weren't going to let me into the world champion thing. So, but yeah, he's Flair. I told the story before. He got better after WCW, but it was in the independents where I saw that he kind of figured it out, but it wasn't until then.
Danhausen is very tough. Have you ever come across Danhausen on the indies?
No. Matter of fact, I haven't seen Danhausen, and I can't tell you when. Where's he at now?
I think he's with AEW, but he doesn't seem to get too much time on screen. I know
Man.
he's big on YouTube. He's doing his thing on YouTube for sure. I've chatted with him a little bit, and he's the nicest guy. Very quiet, very different than how he is on screen, which is cool.
Yeah.
Sober as well, I believe. I believe he's doesn't drink, no drugs, nothing like that. Always been that way, I believe.
Good.
So yeah, good to see for sure.
Yeah,
That
he's
new era, I suppose.
absolutely. I do not know him. I met him a couple of times at a WrestleCade or a signing,
Sure.
and but that's it. I haven't seen him on TV at all or nothing.
I think he's going to be a WrestleCade this year. Yeah.
Okay.
He would be a good one to talk to because he is a really cool guy, very, very down to earth, very kind. And, when I talked to him, he wasn't Danhausen. He was not in character and all of that. And just, very different. I really enjoyed that.
We should check that one out. I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I know he's big on YouTube. He's doing his thing on here. So I'm sure he would be interested in doing something.
Love it.
This is an interesting question here from Cade. Buff, ever heard Randy Savage's rap album?
What?
You didn't know about that?
No.
Really? Oh, wow.
No.
All right. Well, I'll have to school you on the Randy Savage rap album.
It's
an interesting one. Yes, it's an interesting. I want to say like 2004 it came out, but I could be totally wrong on that. Let me look this up because it's still circulating all over YouTube and social media and all that stuff. Let's see. Randy Savage rap album. When did this come out? It's called Be a Man in 2003, so even longer ago.
Wow.
21 years, maybe even 22. He had like a music video and diss track for Hulk Hogan. I think he was trying to get him to do a celebrity like boxing match, and Hogan wouldn't do it. Yeah, so they were back and forth. He came out with a whole diss track, and yeah, it's wild to say the least.
That is, that would be a good one. Getting Hulk into a fight, that'd be good, right?
It would have been, yeah. I mean, we don't want to see it now. I think it's he's passed on that one, but
I think it's definitely a pass now. But about this Tyson thing, what about the Tyson Paul thing?
That's right. Yeah. Is that on? They had that rescheduled, and it's gonna happen.
Pretty sure it's rescheduled. And somebody asked me at the gym yesterday about it. So it's my understanding that it's back on for sure. And somebody was asking me what I thought.
Well, what do you think about that now that we've got that in front of us?
Yeah. So, man, I can tell you what I want. I want Tyson to win.
Of course.
But
November 15th, 2024.
Look at there. So I'm
Arlington, Texas.
What part?
Arlington, Texas.
Okay, so that's going to be a big deal, man. That's going to be a big payday, at least for sure. So I think it's going to be a really good fight. I really do. But I mean, when I think about it, I think it's just because of years, all I watched was Mike Tyson, but it just looks like Mike's keeping his face in him going down. But this kid's tough, there's no doubt about it. This kid's tough. So
he is. He gets a lot of flack, and rightfully so. I think he's a bit of an ass sometimes.
Yes.
That's what he's. I mean, it's a gimmick at the end of the day. I mean, that's his job to be. He's playing the heel out there. As much as you want to say that this, is a real sport, this is boxing.
Right. Sure.
He's a heel, and he's doing that on YouTube. He's doing that on social media. He knows what he's doing.
Sure.
I think that there's a team behind this guy, and he's picking people that they're analyzing what are his true odds. And I mean, he's going against a guy. How old is Tyson now? And he's in his 60s or late 50s.
He's got to be close to 60 because I'm 55, bro. I'll be 55, and I know he's got to be right at 5 years old. I would say 59.
58 years old.
Okay,
58.
So 3 years on me.
Logan Paul's got to be, Jake Paul's got to be late 20s, I would imagine, probably 28, 29,
He's
maybe
gotta be
30. Yeah.
maybe
So,
30.
I mean, that's not 5-6 years. That's a big age gap there. I mean,
Man,
I
that's
can't
big.
see. Yeah. I think Mike Tyson technically is the better fighter, but, you know, age comes up ahead, I think, at some point, and that age gap there, it's just too much of a discrepancy, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
we'll see
We'll
what
see, man.
happens.
I'm excited about it. I want to see it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I would love to see him level the kid and, you know, put him to sleep out there, but I just don't see it happening,
I know,
unfortunately.
man. I know.
You know, we haven't seen anybody put this kid's lights out yet, but one
No.
day it'll happen. Let's see, what else we have here? Tyson. Yeah, well, it's Jake. I made that mistake too. And WrestleCade. When is WrestleCade? That's the day after Thanksgiving in
Yes.
North Carolina, Winston-Salem. That'll be good. That'll be
That's
a
gonna
good
be a
one for
great
sure.
one.
Yeah, see, Cade. Yeah, I agree. As much as I, you know, like I said, would love to see him put the kid to sleep. I just don't see it happening.
I
And
really don't see. I don't see the kid winning though. I just really don't. I don't see.
It depends. It could be a decision. It could be a split decision. There's been some
Yeah.
controversial ones for sure.
Right. I just can't. I just remember seeing Tyson come out with that towel and taking that towel off, and then just like every punch before the guy would get knocked out, it was, if he would have connected, it would have been a knockout.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that punch is still there. It's just a little older.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think he's got to probably do it in the first, you know, what, 2-3 rounds, because
Oh, yeah.
you know, he's not going to probably have that power the longer it goes, right? It won't be as much of a threat anyways. So, all right, we got a long story short here. Buff, when the ECW guys like Sandman came to WCW, were you aware of how their hardcore matches were?
It's a great question. And no, I mean, I knew that they were, you know, trash cans and cookie sheets and the sticks, and, you know, I knew all the stuff and the barbed wire and stuff. But again, none of that stuff was going to enter WCW too far because we were owned by Ted Turner. We couldn't bleed. There couldn't be blood. If the blood did happen, it went to the hard camera. So it wasn't like we all went, "Oh my God, we gotta do hardcore wrestling now." That wasn't going to happen because Turner could only go so far with it. What we were bad about doing, and I remember that this happened with Sandman. I really am great friends with Sandman. I love him. Great guy. This is not personal with what happened to him, and he knows this story. But WCW, calling we at WCW, I felt like we were bad about when somebody came in, we gave them a push, like the Macho Man, of course, and Hogan and those guys. But it got to where anybody that came in from another company would get a push. And so Sandman comes into WCW. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada at the MGM Grand. And I remember going to Eric and here I am putting the Sandman over. And I go to Eric, I said, and I didn't complain. I didn't, no matter what the dirt sheet says and all that stuff.
Sure.
I didn't complain about stuff like this. I did what they told me to do. That's why I kept the job for 10 years with 5 bosses. So I did what I was told. So, but on this one, I had to at least ask. So I go to Eric. I said, "Eric, bro, please tell me there's more to this story." I said, "We always do this." And I explained to him, I said, "This is my opinion." I said, if the Sandman comes in from ECW and he beats Buff Bagwell, that makes ECW look more powerful than us. I said, it's not true, A, and B, why do you want to do that? I mean,
Right.
beating Buff Bagwell's a pretty good victory coming out of the gates. And I said, it's just not necessary. It's gonna little me a little bit, and it's gonna raise him fast, and it's gonna show people that ECW is the better company. He agreed with me, and I beat him and the tattoo guy that was the Flames. Big Bam Bigelow and Sandman. I did like a double blockbuster to both of them. Wow. So it was the only time I actually said something about losing and got a victory out of it, because it made sense. But in that match, I almost killed myself because it was a fire extinguisher that I did before I gave him the blockbuster. And if you watch it back, I am gasping for air. I never really knew the facts of what a fire extinguisher was, but it takes the oxygen out of the air. I didn't know that. So I'm in the ring going, and I got to hit them both with a blockbuster, and I'm out of air. So it was a crazy thing. But yeah, so Sandman, great guy, but ECW was a great company. I feel like they were third, but they were third. It was, you know, Vince, and then we were second, and they were third, and then the battle became us for a little while first. But it didn't make sense for Sandman to beat me out of the gate. And he had a great run with us at WCW, but it didn't need to start that way, and it didn't. And me and Sandman were great friends through all of it.
Excellent. And from Collision here, can you recall anything about WCW Mayhem in Toronto?
I don't, man. Mr. Memory here. I don't with that one. Was that a pay-per-view we had called Mayhem or something?
I remember the Mayhem game, but I'm blanking.
That's what I'm saying. I don't remember what that means.
Let's see.
Now
it was Toronto. This was the 99. So yeah, I went with the game, and that was Bret Hart versus Benoit in a tournament final for the vacant WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And let me take a look at the card here. I don't remember this one. But I mean, to be fair, this is when things were starting to get a little bit funny over there at WCW. So I wasn't watching as much of the pay-per-views anyways. But let's see, we've got for the matches, it looks like it was, where's Buff on here? What were you doing on this one? Goldberg defeated Sid Vicious in an I Quit match. David Flair versus Kimberly Page ended in a no contest. We had Scott Hall defeating Booker T for the World Television title. And where is Brett defeated Sting by submission? Okay, so you had a match with Kurt Hennig that night, retirement match.
Wow.
And you went over on Kurt Hennig.
Wow. Shocking.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So from Cade here, Buff, did you like Vince Russo as a booker or not?
God, I want to say no, but it's not really fair to say that. I think it was just no. I can say no. I can say no because Vince didn't like me. We were friends. We were cordial. I think right now Vince would talk good about me. I talk good.
I think he has. Yeah, I think he said that he likes Marcus Bagwell.
We actually have had a couple of podcasts, and both of them are very good. And we cordial. We've always been cordial and stuff, but I do feel, and I think Vince would be honest about this, I feel that Vince had his guys and Eric had his guys.
And you were an Eric guy.
And I was an Eric guy.
Right.
So you could always tell when Russo was running the show, it was Jarrett's and Bret Hart's and the WWF guys. And when Eric was running the show, it was, Lex, Goldberg, Sting, and Buff. It was the WCW guys. And that's not unfair. It's just I could tell that I would rather have Eric in charge because Eric was more WCW than Russo. So he was more to use me and the WCW guys. Like under Eric's booking is when I beat Goldberg and we buried Goldberg, But so that wasn't Russo's idea. And that don't mean he doesn't like me. It don't mean I don't like him. I just don't think I was on his list of guys. It was more the WWF guys for him.
But you were part of the New Blood angle and all that stuff too. So yeah, it's funny on screen. You could see how you guys would kind of align, but then, it's interesting to have the backstage, information available.
I had words with him one time and it was over. Johnny Ace gave me, I was getting a finish for, it was me against, Big Veto.
Okay.
In Cincinnati, Ohio. And it was a nitro. And my mom was at the show with me because she was being used through all of this during this time. And I remember we had lunch at Old Charlie's that day. And me and Mom decided that no matter what, I was tired of trying to defend and fight for everything and try to, even speaking up I was getting tired of having to speak up for myself. So we decided that day we were just going to not say nothing. Whatever they told us to do, my mother talking to her son, you need to do the right thing. And just don't even if it's good, something good you're trying to do, just don't say a word. Just keep your mouth shut and do what they say today. And I said, you know what? You're exactly right. So I showed up and I'm on a card with Big Veto on Monday Night Nitro. If you look at Big Veto and Buff Bagwell on a board, who do you think's going over?
Well, logically, I would think that Marcus Bagwell's going over.
Well, so would I, and I wasn't. So we go in the finish room, and I got a cup of coffee, and Johnny breaks the news to us, but somehow I already had found out. And I said, what kind of finish do you want to use? And Johnny Laurinaitis went, he starts going through his page. Well, we can, they're blown away that I've said what I'm not complaining or arguing. And Big Vito's going, well, I can, I said, well, what finish do you use? Well, I can do that swinging neck breaker. I go, brother. I mean, I'm like 6 months back from a broken neck.
Yeah. That's
said, brother. I mean, I think we can work on something besides that, can't we? And he goes, yeah. And I got my coffee with me. And then I don't know where this thought came from. I really don't got any idea. And I started thinking, it went in my head and I went, and this is 5 days, 6 days before our pay-per-view, Judy Bagwell in the pole match.
Okay.
So we're 6 days away. So we've been in a 3-week angle with Chris Kanyon, and we're going into the home stretch to close the deal to sell pay-per-views. And I'm losing a match to Big Veto.
Right.
And I wasn't complaining. And then I went, wait a second. I go, are you on the pay-per-view this Sunday? And I saw Johnny's head. Johnny's head fell. And Big Vito said, no. But I love Big Veto, but I don't think he realized where I was going with this.
Yeah.
Johnny knew where I was going, which is, of course, why am I losing 5 days before the pay-per-view Judy Bagwell in the pole match? So Big Vito's kind of lost, and Johnny starts instantly going, Buff, they're not going to hear it, man. If you start complaining, they've already told me they're going to fire anybody that complains. It didn't slow me down a bit. I was steady, which is ridiculous, but it didn't. I'm up. He's behind me the whole walk. If you ask Johnny Laurinaitis this story, he will confirm it. He followed me the entire way going, Buff, please don't do this. They're going to fire you. They don't care. They're just tired of all of it. They're just done. Yeah. And I mean, everything he could say, and nothing was going to stop me from asking, please explain to me. So I get to Russo. He's there. He stands up. It's a little awkward at first, like somebody's going to swing. Nobody does, of course. And I said, look, man, I said, real quick, just explain to me how a guy that's not on our pay-per-view, why? And again, it caused a bunch of crap, but out of it came a better thing. They put Kanyon as a camera guy.
I remember this now. Yeah.
And he came out and screwed me for the win. But it wasn't going to be like that. It was supposed to be a Big Vito's finish, which was a spinning DDT over Chris screwing me as a camera guy. And it was great, but it was just, again, me having to speak up and get tons of heat over something that I shouldn't have had to do, you know?
Well, at least they brought him into the mix because you did go over at the pay-per-view. You won the Judy Bagwell on a pole match. But
right.
Yeah, but to beat you clean 1, 2, 3, going into a pay-per-view that he's not even on, yeah, it wouldn't make sense without Kanyon coming in and, cheating and, getting heat for that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, at least you contributed to what turned out to be a much better angle in the end, for that match.
Absolutely.
And Tone Dog here. Remember you from last week. David Flair and Buff at Halloween Havoc.
Wasn't that some kind of vaguely? I try to forget everything David was in. God bless him. It was horrific, man. I mean, the memory I got of that David Flair is beating me at the absolute peak of my career. I had beat Piper. I had beaten Piper. I had beaten Flair, Ric Flair. And then Atlanta was the next city.
Multiple times.
Yes. And Atlanta was the next city. And David Flair beat me in front of 85,000 people. And it was the most devastating. I mean, 85,000 was more upset than me. I wanted to go on the microphone and go, hey, it's okay. It's okay, man. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's okay. That's how bad it was. It was the sound. I've told you about it. The sound was like, gosh, but 85,000 people doing it because nobody saw David Flair beating Buff Bagwell, match number 1, and at 85,000 people sell out at the Georgia Dome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
Now with WWE, I know they like to have the hometown guy lose. Was that a thing in WCW? Did they do that as well?
That was always a running joke of, even in the indies, it was a joke of, hey, brother, I live here. I can't lose, I can't lose in my hometown. That was kind of a standing joke, but, I'm not sure. It just, I remember going to David. I remember going, again, I was so in the right here. I felt like I could say something without getting heat. So I didn't go to Eric. I didn't go to my boss. I went to Rick and I said, Rick, do you really know what's going on here? Do you really think that David is ready for this push to beat a guy that just beat Roddy Piper and Ric Flair? Is that really what we're doing? And, it didn't go very far. So I just said, okay, Rick, whatever you think, brother, and we did it because I love Ric Flair.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Rick is certainly a legend in the business. And to me, I think he's easily top 5. He's in the Mount Rushmore for me anyways of pro wrestling.
Oh yeah.
What else do we have here? I saw one that was good. I think it was from, who was it? Working Uber, listening to Buff. Hello from Las Vegas. I love that. So he's working for Uber right now, and he's listening to this.
Oh, that's
great. I hope that your precious cargo is enjoying it too. But if not, that is awesome either way. Thank you so much for the support. I love that.
Thank you, Tone Dog. I love it.
And we've got here, what else? There's so many good ones jumping in here. Can you describe in detail what you wish your dream run would have looked like in WWE? We kind of touched on this last week. You're talking about so many great matches that, could have been had things gone differently there in the WWF at the time. It's such a letdown for the fans. And of course you as well, Mark.
It is. But to make this one a short one, it was just inevitably going to be The Rock versus Buff. That was going to be something that was going to happen. I mean, I was 30 years old. I was 31. The Rock was 29. The Rock was The Rock, and I was Buff Bagwell coming off a 10-year run at WCW, and it was going to happen. There was no doubt about it. The Rock versus Buff was going to be great. And for that to never happen really upsets me because I love The Rock and I'm a huge fan of his and I love this business. But unfortunately it never happened.
Yeah, it's too bad. And it's at the end of the day, I feel for you, of course, but I feel for the fans that just, didn't get to experience what could have been over there with you in the WWF at the time. We've got one from Dwayne Atkinson. Was there any backstage concern of Eric challenging Vince to show up to a live pay-per-view?
That's a good question. I can't believe it, but there was nothing ever mentioned about that. I mean, and that's weird. Why would there? Because there was for sure there was heat there. I mean, 2 guys shooting for the same job, and one did it once, and then one did it, and they worked together for a little bit. I mean, it was a crazy run.
Well, is this Vince Russo, or are we talking about Vince McMahon here? I took it as Vince McMahon.
Oh, I took it as Russo. So,
we just talked about Russo and him too, so it would make sense. I took it as Vince, though.
Now that you say it,
we could ask him. I think it would make sense for Vince if he were to show up, and try to, basically crash a pay-per-view where it's live. What could you do about it if he
Absolutely.
jumped over the barricade or something?
It would
Essentially
be
what the Hall Nash angle was when they first, invaded WCW.
it would be fantastic, but the answer to the question, no. There was never a concern. Like I do remember when the DX when they were trying to get into Richmond, Virginia, is where we were, and they were on the tank trying to get in the door. I remember Nash was begging Eric to open the door, and
He was on
just
the other side, right?
yeah. I mean, all we got to do is raise one door, and we got the WWF and WCW in a real fist fight.
Yep.
And Eric's, Kevin's begging him, like, just open the door, please open it. But he's friends with Triple, so I don't really know what would have happened. But I think we'd have all worked, but it would have been it would have been 3/4 of a shoot, no matter what,
Of course.
Company versus company and all that. But I remember Eric not being happy about it, but making the call. No, we can't do that. We can't do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it gets dicey with contracts, and you're on different networks and all that too at the same time. So yeah, it could be just a legal nightmare if they did do that. But for what Dwayne's suggesting here, I think it would be tough because if say Eric had jumped a barricade at a pay-per-view, I feel like that benefits WWF at the time, right? It's their product, right? So you're showing up and bringing talent over there. It's just going to boost their ratings. I don't know if it's going to really do anything for you. It's probably going to hurt you, if anything.
Whatever show is on is what is going to benefit. And you're just, the only reason to do something like you're saying would be to get a job. A lot of wrestlers, Rick Rude sat in the audience of WCW and they hired him. I tried it and it messed up because we wasn't thinking, whoever got me to do it, they wasn't thinking either, because we did SmackDown, and SmackDown is taped. So if I would have gone to a Monday Night Raw live, I'm not saying I would have got hired, but it would have been a better impact. We go to the Bilo Center in Greenville at a taped SmackDown, and all they did was just cut me out of the taping, but if it was live, y'all would have saw live where 300 people were getting my autograph on the floor, and they could nothing they could do about it. They couldn't do nothing about it. And
as long as you have your ticket, you're not doing anything wrong. They can't eject you.
Yeah. Johnny goes, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I come to see some wrestling, man." He goes, "What?" I go, "I come to see wrestling." Hold on a second, Johnny. "Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you." And it was 300 people. It was crazy. Wow. And the world would have saw that. And I thought it was enough that the WWF saw that I drew a crowd at their building, at their show. I thought maybe that was going to be enough, to say, hey, let's give this kid a chance, Yeah. And that was probably 2007. So we're talking 6 years.
Removed,
it may not have been that long. It may have been, no, it was 6 or 7. So it was just, I just thought for sure. And that was the last thing that I ever tried to do. After they saw me draw a crowd in their building, I can't do no more, so it's like,
exactly.
Thank you. Love you guys, but I'm not going to do this no more.
Yeah, of course.
And they were fine with that.
I love this question from John Miller here. Buff, would you ever want to manage anyone on the active AEW or WWE roster? If yes, who would you mentor? I think that's a great question.
Wow, this is it's a great question, but the problem is I don't know who, though, because they're all so great. What I see about this question is that's what I would want to do. I would want to, if they would allow or saw value in this one day, I would give anything to be part of the team at AEW or WWE and be that guy that says, hey man, if you do this, it may be a little better. If you add that to it and be a little bit of a mentor and what they do, but right now I'm just fans of guys. And my number one guy is LA Knight. He reminds me of me. He fits into that section of, just something about him reminds me of me a lot. He's just a great guy, great gimmick. I'm a big fan of LA Knight. And so when I think about guys like I don't think what I could do to better his job, because he's doing really well. But for guys that are suffering a little that I don't quite know, but they may say, hey man, I'm not so good at this part. And to me, be there to say, hey, how about trying this? I would love to be a mentor as my profession. I just don't know who I'd want to mentor. That would be up to them coming to me going, hey, you got any advice? And me giving advice to, wrestlers that are trying to better their craft, trying to better their character.
Excellent answer. I love that. Alex here, another great one. In a shoot fight to the death, who's walking away the winner, Steiner brothers or Harlem Heat? I've asked this to many, and it's 50-50 responses.
Well, for starters, if you've asked anybody with brains, this wouldn't be 50-50, bro. It's extremely important for you to know that this is 90-10 at best. I'm a big fan of Stevie Ray, a big fan of Booker T, but bro, even they would tell you they don't want to mess with the Steiner brothers. I mean, the Booker may not, but I really think he would. If you get, hey man, give me truthfully 100% one-on-one, you against Rick, you against Scotty, I do think he would say they would get the best of him, but maybe not. But as a tag team, Stevie's a big dude, but he's not a grappler killer. These guys would climb him and wrap around him and tie him in a knot. And that's not nothing. That's something they would do to everybody. But that 50-50 is only because you've asked the wrong people. that brother, that's about a 90-10 Steiner brothers, I promise.
I think that's generous.
Yes, and I'm being nice.
I mean, they're technical and they're loose cannons.
Yes, they are. Scotty's.
You combine both, yeah.
Use what you see on TV with Scott Steiner is what you get, brother. He's dead serious about it, and he will show you. He'll rip your lungs out.
I was just watching him. Actually, you trying to keep him off of JJ Dillon, and what a wild segment that is.
That is 100% shoot segment. He was trying to kill JJ Dillon, and I'm going, Scotty, they're going to fire you. Don't, man.
You can hear you saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was 100% shoot.
Wow. And it goes on for a while. I mean, I think he leaves. He comes back at least once, maybe twice. He comes back out.
That reckless chair that comes flying through, that could have killed anybody.
Yep.
And the look on JJ's face, man,
No, he hightailed it out of there, but he came back when he thought the coast was clear, and the coast was not clear.
No. Anybody else, even being a wrestler on the wrestler side with Scotty, he's not going to stay mad enough to where TV and money, JJ coming out the second time, okay, just let him finish it. Scotty said, no, I'm still in here. I'm still mad. I'm going to kill him. I was like, Scotty, stop. What are you doing?
Here's another great question here. And it's funny. I actually know that you're a big fan of Australia. So Buff, ever thought about doing some international tours? Maybe Australia? Would love to meet you. Legend.
Yes, I love Australia. And actually, you're probably too young to know, but we were there in the early 2000s. 2001, right when my WWE contract ended. My very first trip was to Melbourne, Australia, for a company called World Wrestling All-Stars, the WWA. And it was a great, great company. I loved it. We had a great, it seemed like a great 3 or 4 years, but I think it was about a year. But we did a couple of tours, and it was a great thing. And a guy named Andrew McManus was the main guy there that ran the whole thing in Australia. And it was very professional. We got paid a lot of money. We did a good job and all that. It just, like everything else, it just takes deep pockets. And they came out of the gate with deep pockets, but they needed a little more deeper than that. So, but great time in Australia. Could definitely pack my bags and move to Australia and live. Love the country.
Yeah, you actually had spoken to me last time I was in Atlanta about different places you would want to move to or consider moving to. And I think Australia was at the top of your list.
Yes, it is.
That's great. And what do we have here? Thank you for picking my question. And I can see where'd it go? There we go. I can see you walking out with LA Knight. It would work. Yeah, I think so. That is a great one. He's great on the mic. He's great in the ring. He's really got it. You know.
He really does. I'm a big fan of LA Knight. So the only time I've ever done something like this, and again, they came to me to do something with Scotty, and it worked. But it was me, bouncing around Big Papa Pump, and it worked. I was the little dog bouncing around the big dog, man, and it worked. It was great. We had a blast, and we got overdoing it. But kind of like with LA Knight, it becomes a time where Scotty don't need me anymore, and I didn't need Scotty anymore. And it ended where just, hey, you go do your thing, I'll do mine. But man, together for that time, it was fantastic television. It worked fantastic, and it was we had a lot of great fun together, me and Scotty, and it was a great part of my career.
Absolutely. And Doug Myers here. Do you ever get burned out and take time off from the gym? It was fun in my 20s and 30s, but now I'm 51. I'm just not that guy anymore.
No, I don't ever take off. Yeah, I do get burned out, but you just couldn't with wrestling. Wrestling was year round. Wrestling being year round is a big part of me being a drug addict, though. I needed something to go. I needed something to go a little more, and I needed a little bit of some pain medication, and that what I needed, that was a couple a day every once in a while, turned to 4, 6, 8, 10, which is what happens to most addicts. But for a long time, I managed it really well. It's just finally, like always, it does finally get the best of you. But yes, I get burned out, but no, I couldn't. So, because every Monday night I was going to see a playback, and I was going to see whether or not I was lean and ripped and looking good, or whether I'd smoothed out and I was mad at myself. So I made it to the gym no matter what for a lot of years, very consecutively.
Good information for sure. Yeah, I think it's a struggle for anybody that's in that, and you just gotta push through, or and if it's not you anymore, then maybe you don't. But it's tough if that's your business, and this was very much your business, and it still is to an extent. I mean, even if you're not in ring, you're still going to the signings and all that stuff, and people want to see Buff Bagwell. So it's a part of you. I think you're always gonna have that.
No doubt. And at 54, like you being 51, you didn't mention this, but injuries, bro. This shoulder's fake. This shoulder needs to be replaced. I got a fake left hip. I got a fake right knee, and I'm bolted together in my neck. At 54 years old, all of that stuff hurts. So very lightweight. I do the power cuffs now, which helps a lot. I can be able to do lighter weight, train just as hard, but with lighter weight, higher reps. But yeah, it's much tougher now. That again, it's important that I try to look as good as I can because of my name, but there's not hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line, so it is a bit different. And I say a bit because no matter what, I want to look as good as I can, but I do see what you're saying. But I would suggest changing gyms. I find a lot of value in that, switching gyms up a little bit. And I'm really big on changing my routine up. I can be really burned out and just change my regimen up, and I get excited again. Just
Great advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Just switching that routine up a little bit. It's really good. Really good. Try that. And I think you'll get excited again.
Very good. Let me ask you, with the power cuffs, what do they do exactly? Because you see these are being used a lot. I mean, Dallas uses them constantly. And one thing I don't see a lot of is he hasn't done like a specific video for idiots like me that need you to hold their hand and walk through exactly what they do exactly. I understand a little bit of it, but you use them. What's the benefit of the power cuffs?
The benefit of the power cuff is, well, first of all, it's called BFR training. That's blood flow restriction training. You are training the muscle under restriction. So blood flow restriction. So you dial it in. It's like a tourniquet. And when you do the tourniquet, the blood has to work. The veins and the muscles have to work so hard to get the blood back down and back to your heart. Your blood's going to your fingertips and to your heart, to your fingertips, to your heart, to every part of your body and to your heart, back and forth. When you restrict it from going to your arms, it releases growth hormone. Now, this isn't an idea that Dallas thought of. This is medically proven that your arms can get bigger by BFR training, by blood flow restriction training. So you tighten the cuffs.
Yep.
And then you can train for up to 19 minutes is what they recommend. That to me is about 3 sets. And then you occlude it, which is release it. And then when you release it, when it releases the growth hormone and you release the blood, that's when the magic supposedly happens. And then you shake it out for a minute and you pop it, you go back in and you do your next 3 or 4 exercises and you occlude it again. And that back and forth BFR, blood flow restriction training type regimen is, again, not an idea, not a suggestion. It is medically proven. I really believe you'll see every college football team within 2 years, they'll have them for the legs and they'll be out there when they're going through the combine and all this. It's a fantastic, your legs and your arms are your extremities. It's harder to get blood to your big toe and your fingertip than it is most places. So on the extremities, that's why they're saying these blood flow restriction power cuffs, that's why they work, because your limbs are just tougher to get blood to by restricting them and then training your body, which allows you to get more blood there. It's at a higher rep. So the benefits of it is also not hurting, not having to lift heavy weight. So I lift a lot lighter weight and I get just the amount of pump, the same amount of pump, if not even more. So that's the idea, is training the same, even maybe harder, but you're training at much lighter weight and much less stress on your joints. That's the love of it.
And do you have to up your reps with it, or you can keep everything the same? You're just lifting lesser weight.
You're definitely got to up your reps, because when you lower the weight, if you don't up the reps, and it's not going to work. So I mean, we're talking, 20, 25 reps. I think Dallas does 30. If you watch one of his videos, he does 30 reps. It's a real short period of recovery. Like he does a 30 set, and then it's like, I think 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then you do the 15.
He's go. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think 30-minute workout and you're done.
Yeah.
But it's an intense 30-minute workout. So it's definitely a high rep, low weight, blood flow restriction training method that really works.
Excellent. Yeah, I have them. I use them. I just didn't fully understand it, and you did an excellent job of getting all that information out.
Great.
And giving me a better understanding of why I'm using it. So
yes,
very good. And we'll do a couple more questions here, and then we'll actually next week, we're going to be off next week, but we'll be back the following week, and we're going to have a special guest as well. We're going to be bringing, and it's actually going to be the 3 of us in the same room, which is going to be pretty exciting too. We're going to have Ranger Ross with us.
I'm so excited.
Me too. And I've said this before. Through you, I've met some really amazing people: Sting, Lex, countless others. He's my favorite, and it's crazy, but he is my favorite. He's the nicest guy. Amazing conversation, whether the camera's on or not, just outstanding. So really excited for that.
I'm really excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that'll be whatever, not next week, the week after, whatever that date is. I think it's the 17th, if I'm not mistaken.
What is
so
that?
We'll have
date?
him.
Yeah, 17th. Yeah,
17th. Perfect. All right, let's see. We're going to grab a couple more questions, and then we'll let you guys go tonight. Thank you all so much for being here with us. It's really just amazing to have so many people in here supporting and watching the videos too, guys. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. We couldn't have hoped for a better response from everybody.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this, guys. It's just been a blessing in disguise. Me being grateful and thankful enough to have a good memory of what I've done and to be able to share it with you guys it's a dream come true for me. And this is something I've always had, but I didn't have a platform to do it at. And to have a platform to tell you guys all of these stories that are in the high 90s% correct and right and truthful, it's a blast to me. And for you guys to be able to enjoy it is even better. So thank you guys so much, man. If you got any, stories you want me to tell that I'm forgetting, or a city or something, because when I see stuff, I can think of things where I'm there. So, hey, when you guys maybe give some comments like, hey, Buff, any memories of Baltimore? And then I just had about 10 memories come up for Baltimore. So just a great, so I'm going to tell the Baltimore story right quick.
Absolutely.
Baltimore, Maryland. I'm in Baltimore, and we're at the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, and we're at like a house show, and it's the very beginning of NWO, and we're just starting to get popular. We're at the very beginning of becoming superstars, and I'm at the very beginning of Buff. I've thought of this character. I don't think I thought of the name yet. I think I'm just doing the character. I'm doing these things, and I'm being kind of crazy in the ring and pushing the ref, him pushing me back, and it's just a crazy kind of thing. Well, the wrestlers knew I was onto something before I did. And so Sting and them would just love me when I would do this. And so when I go to the ring, Jim Duggan, Rude, Nash, everybody that was there came to the curtain, and they would watch when Buff Bagwell was in the ring at a house show. And I went out there and I did all of it. I came to the back, and they're just rolling, laughing, man. And Sting goes, man, that dance you did was great. And I go, what dance? He goes, that thing you did. And I go, I got no idea what you're talking about. So Dallas Page would video all of the house shows because he'd watch them back to make his match better. So I watched the tape back, and I see me doing this crazy big thing that I would do, and I watched it, and I was like, oh my God, didn't remember doing it. I watched it, and kind of like I told you with the it factor, watching something and being able to do it. I watched what I did, and I did it again, but I don't remember doing it. It was just something I did out of the gate, just completely random, did it, and ended up being the Buff Strut, So from that point on, I continued to do the dance, but it was created in Baltimore, Maryland.
Wow, I did not know that. But that's definitely a key component to Buff Bagwell.
Yes,
for sure. From Dredrick Tatum here, Buff, you suck. And I believe he's the one that gave you $2 to say that to you last time too. So you can say that to him anytime, as long as you put the dollar signs on there. We are happy to accept that. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that, Dedrick.
He's a fan though. He just likes to have fun with you.
I love it.
Let's see what else do we have here. So I'm trying to pick. We'll say a couple here as I find one. I got a question. You were one of the first, and I won't say that you're the first, but one of the first wrestlers to get a tattoo in a noticeable spot. Did you have to get approval for something like that? Because you guys are seeing me from the neck up. I'm pretty well covered in tattoos. I've got them all over my hands here, all over my body. But what got you into tattoos? You don't have a ton of them, but for, when did you get your tattoo on your arm?
93, brother.
That's early. Tattoos were, not, they were unsavory at best in that time period.
It's been a long time, I guess, as I've been asked that. So I'm not sure what got me on the tattoo thing.
Sure.
It was the American Males.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember doing the movie Day of the Warrior. And I remember even as my first character, Fabian, just like the Ultimate Warrior, you could tie shoestrings around your arms, and your arms and shoulders looked 1,000 times leaner and bigger
because you were power cuffs,
like the power cuffs. Except this is a little bit thick. The shoestring really worked because you could tie it off, and it was like your shoulder and then your bicep. It was incredible. So the idea, but I'm not sure who gave me the idea. or why I did it, but the idea was, hey man, that looks good on your arm. Let's ink it. So I wanted to get a leather band tied around my arm. I think I drug Scotty with me to do his, Scotty Riggs. What I was thinking, maybe it was him that got me involved, but it was me getting him involved. And it wasn't his first tattoo either. So I went to a guy named Monkey Man in Marietta, Georgia, that had done 1,000 guys, 1,000 wrestlers tattoos. And he put a piece of rope tied around my arm. And brother, in 1993, guys wasn't sleeved out on basketball, football games. A tattoo was iffy. It was real iffy.
That's right, especially for that time period. Yeah. Now everybody's got tattoos, but
of course,
for back then,
accepted.
very different.
Turner's people came to me and said, "Did you get that approved?" And I said, "No." And I'm sorry that I need to. And they go, "Yeah." And they had a meeting over it, and they were very upset with me. They were upset that I did not get that approved, and that, they reminded me that I work for Ted Turner and that those kind of things matter. And so I was in, and I went into a state of depression, brother, after that. And not for a long period, but it seemed like a long period. I'd say a week of really depressed about what have I done. Yeah. Luger was mad at me. I called Rick Steiner and I said, "Please talk to him. Tell me this is okay." He goes, do you like
tattoos? I think
he had tattoos all over him. And he goes, "Do you like it?" I said, I don't know. I don't know yet. And then I remember I saw it on TV and I went, "Okay, I love it."
Yeah.
And then I saw it on an action figure and I was like, yes. So it took a minute for me because I was really upset about inking my body, but it was, Lex really beat me up over it. He was like, "Man, you idiot. What are you doing? Your body's perfect. What are you doing?" And he really beat me up, but he never likes tattoos, still don't. But I did, at least I got over it and finally accepted and loved it.
Yeah. Well, and especially, I mean, you see it on people like Rick Steiner, who, he's not playing the pretty boy, like you were at that time too. So I think you were the first that was, seen in that light that was getting tattooed. Now,
yes,
let's jump into something else here. I saw one from Mark. Please read my question. I'm trying to find your question here. Lots of Shawn Michael questions here, you said, but where is the original question? There we go. I think I got it. Hey, Buff, longtime fan. I'm wondering if you had any interactions with young Shawn Michaels. Word is he was difficult to work with.
Nothing. I have zero. I think I've met Shawn, but maybe just a hey, and that's it. I've never hung out with him, wrestled him, or nothing. So no, which is rare for me, but no Shawn Michaels stories.
Well, he was on the other side of the fence there for a long time, and I don't think he makes too many appearances. Let's see. I'm trying to find a good one here. Bear with me, guys. Did you ever eat corn? So this was a clip that actually I understand the reference here. This was a sign in the audience that went viral years and years later. Somebody, I think, as a diss, said that Goldberg eats corn the long way, and for whatever reason, it went viral, and people have been talking about it ever since.
Really, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know how you would eat corn the long way, but it would be an interesting sight to see.
It would be. Wow. I don't remember this. I don't remember the sign or anything.
It was one of those shorts on either YouTube or maybe it was on like TikTok or something. But like the one I showed you where Hogan blades, like blatantly blades coast to coast. Yeah. So it was like one of those that just went everywhere and people were all over it. Here's a good one from John Miller right here, the most recent one. Would you ever consider commentating?
Oh, I'd love to. Again, I'm sure that list is long, man. But, when I see Booker doing such a great job with NXT, yes, I would love to be part of that. Like I said, I'd love to be, if I could sweep the ring out at the WWE, I really think I would. If I could say, hey, I'm underneath the WWE umbrella, I would take a job sweeping the ring out for them because you're still under the umbrella. I'm Buff Bagwell under the WWE umbrella. I'm telling you, I would actually take a job like that to be under that umbrella.
Wow, that's excellent. And we've got, let's do one more here. He did not get super kicked by Shawn. He said he only met him once.
Yeah.
What was Disco Inferno like to work with?
He was, to me, one of the best. So a lot of guys, they may be great wrestlers, but you just may not have good chemistry with them. So a lot of guys have good chemistry with each other, and some guys don't. Me and Disco had fantastic chemistry. We had great matches together because we had great chemistry together. Ric Flair is one of the best, but if you don't got you may be one of the best, but y'all just may not have a chemistry. Sometimes that happens. So, but with Disco, probably one of the best with my chemistry, one of the best mixes of chemistries I've ever had with my career and my wrestling was having matches with Disco Inferno. He was really great.
And he speaks highly of you. I've seen a few interviews, so you guys obviously got along well.
Yes, we did.
Seems like a good guy.
A lot of great laughs with Disco.
Do you ever keep in touch with him these days?
We haven't. Somebody we should reach out to for sure, but he's got a bunch of good Buff Bagwell stories.
And I saw this mentioned a couple times in here. Do you remember? I can't find Richard. I can't find your other. The chat's bumping right now, so it's funny. I go to click on a comment to bring it up on screen, and sometimes because so many people are commenting things, it blows off my screen and I can't find it again. But
really,
you asked, do you remember? I remember what he had asked vaguely. Do you remember doing the voiceover recordings for the WCW NWO video game? And I believe it was it Thunder or was it Richard? If you respond quick, I can ask him. I think it was the Thunder game, I believe.
And it's
my voice recordings. Yeah, I think as you go over each of the characters, it cuts to them telling you why you should pick them as the character. So if they went over Kevin Nash, it would be Kevin Nash doing a little soundbite of why you should pick him. Do you remember any of that?
I don't. I remember doing the voiceover of my intro song, but that's only because
the Buff Daddy one.
The Buff Daddy one.
Okay.
It was the same day I broke my neck.
Oh,
wow. And that's why I remember it. So April 22nd. And that was
with Jimmy, right?
Me and Jimmy went and did the voiceover of, the sound bites for my Buff Daddy song. I remember doing that, but I don't remember doing the video game ones.
Well, we'll dive into those next time we're recording too, because I know it's funny. I see comments all the time. The video game stuff is huge with wrestling, so everybody wants to see you diving into some of those games that you were in. So we'll definitely do some of that, and maybe some memories will come up from you recording those.
So go to the Ames guy.
All right, here we go. All right, so Ames was his name. What happened to that guy? And I think you asked the question before. I didn't know if you were being a smartass, so I didn't pull you up on screen, but the boss is asking for it. Let me see.
Yeah, I saw the other one, but yeah.
Okay. So, I was trying to avoid it, but
no, but you know me, I want to see it. So this guy, there was this gay guy that had a gimmick of being gay.
Okay. And was he actually gay, or it was just strictly a gimmick?
That's the story. So I wrestled this cat, and we have a whole match. Super cool guy. Never would have thought he was gay. And so we're eating at the Texas Longhorn where we did the show afterwards, and I caught a little something, and I said, "Are you really gay?" He goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh my God!" I thought that was just you were just a gimmick. He goes, "No, brother." He was so the guy, I can't remember his name, but he reminded me. His name was something Ames. Probably one of the best indie matches I had. Because I was beat up during that time. I had a badge. My shoulder was replaced. My hip was coming up for surgery. I was really a beat up Buff Bagwell. And I was able to wrestle this kid. He was younger, and he did a really good job. But he really was a gay guy, but he did a gay gimmick. And I thought he was just doing the gimmick, but he was actually homosexual.
Oh, okay.
Great guy though. But I don't know what happened to him, to answer your question.
Here you go.
This is it.
I've actually seen this match. All right, I'm familiar with it now. Okay.
Yes, that is it.
I mean, you're in
That
good
is
shape here. What was this? Oh, 7 years ago. All right.
Really? What year?
It just says 7, so I don't know. And that's when it was uploaded. I mean, it could have been prior to that
years.
even, but
I can tell you that makes me feel a little better because I'm really beat up right here. I can just tell that my clothesline. I mean, it's a great independent little house show match, but I'm really beat up, and that was about the last good shape I was ever in, and I'm just in decent shape there, but I was holding on, but I'd gone to the jeans. You can see I'm in black jeans, not tights.
and they're airbrushed. Yep.
They're airbrushed. So I'm holding on here, but barely. But this guy did a really good job at what he did for the job, and it was look at this.
Oh, he gave you a little spanking. All right.
Yes. Look at this.
and you were surprised he was gay.
He waited too long. I was like, I can't sell that long, brother. I can't sell it that long. But if it shows me running, you can just see that I'm just beat up, man. I mean, I'm slow on the clothesline, and I can tell this is if it's just 7 years ago. Yeah, I think it's longer than that. But if it's
that was when they uploaded it, so it could have been even a year or two, from prior to that.
But it was you can just tell I'm a step slow for sure.
I mean, you don't look that bad, and to
no,
be perfectly honest.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
I think you're hard on you. We talked about this with Boogeyman too. You had this recollection of a terrible match, and we watched it back together, and you were like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Was that the same one? Right? And that was crazy. So he goes to kiss me there, and it's like, wait, boom, Oh, left arm clothesline. See there? Because my right, I couldn't do it. Gotcha. So either the replacement had happened, and I can't remember why, but by me not throwing a right arm clothesline, that tells me it was back a little bit because I never throw left arm clotheslines ever.
Going Chris Benoit with the left arm clothesline.
Yes.
This supposed to be the finish.
Double arm DDT for the finish. I didn't even go down with him. See that?
Yep.
Didn't even go down with him because I was hurting that bad.
Yeah, you can see that you're.
Yes, but he was a really good kid, super professional, and he did a great job out there.
Excellent. Well, if anybody knows what's going on with, and it was Amos, right? Ames.
I think Ames, if I remember it right, it was Ames.
We'll have to see. We'll see, and we'll make this the last one here. But what are you doing with your health these days? You're still very young. So where are you at?
Yeah, man, I'm just doing what I always did, which is, I eat a very high protein, low carb diet, weekly. And I do, I do a body part a week, which equals chest, tri, back by, legs, starting legs this week, legs. And then I do shoulders on day 4. And I just, try to do the right thing as much as I can. Of course, I don't drink anymore, which helps a lot. Never did smoke. So just doing the high protein, low carb, bodybuilder routine that I've done for so many years.
Excellent. Great insight. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up for tonight, but thank you all so much for being here. We will be off next week, but we'll be back the following week, which is the 17th. We'll be actually together in the same space. We'll be with Ranger Ross as well. So really looking forward to all of that. It's going to be a blast. There you go. Love it. All right, guys. I only see you with the red one these days. I like that one. That's a good one.
Yeah,
we gotta bring that out for some videos.
Yeah, we do need to do that. We do. The black one, I do for some reason. I do the cameo stuff with my black one, and then I do the red one. But we'll break that into the mix for some new stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got some good stuff coming out. And
can we share what we got coming up with somebody in Cobb County?
We can certainly do that. We can certainly do that. I'll let you take it away.
No, you do it. I think it's going to be good.
All right.
You tell me.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to be down there filming with Mark in, I think, the week of the 14th. So we're going to be filming a bunch of days there. And before I announce what he's pushing me to announce right here. I will say that this chat right here helps us to kind of dictate where we're going to go with some of these videos. I've gotten a bunch of ideas just reading these, and we touch on different things here and we kind of figure out what people are interested in. So guys, keep throwing in the comments here, whether we're live or not on the videos. We do read it. There's a lot of comments. We can't get back to everybody, but it definitely goes into our thought process for what we're going to do next. So, you guys have a bigger voice than you guys probably know. So keep commenting, keep, jumping in here with the live chat and all that. It really does wonders for us. But on the 18th, we're going to be actually touring through the Cobb County Civic Center with Lex Luger. And we're going to be going down memory lane because this was where the old school WCW guys were doing their tapings, right, Mark?
Yes.
So that's going to be a lot of fun.
This was old center stage. This is like before, in other words, I wrestled at the Cobb County Civic Center. I wrestled with and against Lex Luger at Cobb County Civic Center, but in independent shows. When I signed with WCW, our Cobb County Civic Center was center stage. That's where we did our TV tapings. But during Lex's time at WCW, it was at Cobb County Civic Center. That was a very, Ranger Rosses were there, like the NWA, the WCW. That was a really great building, but a very important building for Lex's career.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be a blast to just go down there they're opening the doors for us. So we're going to be able to walk through there and see, exactly where you guys did what inside the building, where they set the ring up. They're going to have the place completely open for us. So it'll be cool to kind of do a walking sort of interview, as we go.
I just thought about that. Lex is going to be able to tell us what locker room he was in and
exactly. Yeah.
Where catering was. And we'll surprise you guys with this too, but it was the first time me and Lex ever met.
And he just recently reminded you on that too, which is
I was getting ready to tell him the story. And he goes, yeah, I remember. That was the first time we met. I went, oh my, you remember that? And he goes, yeah. So I didn't think he remembered who I was, but you always remember the first time you see 6'5", 300 pounds. You always remember the first time meeting that person. But I was with Missy High and we saw each other in catering.
And this would have been what, 89, 90?
It had to be 90.
Okay.
And again, when I think back on this, Chase, it seemed like 10 years from the time I graduated till me signing WCW, and it was 3. So, and that's from graduating high school to signing with WCW. It was less than 3 years, and that's not counting a massage therapy 10-month school and stripping and trying to make a living for yourself. And it was a lot in between there of
a lifetime in those years. Yeah.
It was, that's why it seems like 10.
Sure. I can only imagine. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a blast to just tour through there with Lex of all people.
Yes.
Outstanding. And we'll get to hear his take on, what went down back then, what it was like, and get a little kind of walking interview out of it. So stay tuned for that. We've got a lot of great stuff coming as well. We've probably got like 35 videos filmed, ready to go and be released very soon too. So lots to come, but thank you guys so much for, showing support. It seems like everybody's really enjoying everything here. So, and right here, this, not that one. I appreciate that. Chase for president. Yeah, I don't want the job, but certainly appreciate that. But Marcus, we love your story so much. They make my night. That's what we want to hear. So
absolutely. It makes my night being able to do it. We set out to do this 1 hour podcast and we do it for 2.5. So we're loving it too and having a great time.
Yeah, it's getting longer and longer, and it's a blast. It feels like we go longer, but it feels shorter. So love it, guys. Thank you all so much. We're gonna we'll let you go tonight, but we'll see you in 2 weeks, and I'll have a video out for you guys on Thursday though here on the channel, even though we won't be live. So Thursday seems to be our night where we put a big video out there, but we've been putting out little segments, little clips from the lives here too. Whenever we talk about little topics, we segment them out. So hit subscribe if you haven't already. Hit like on the video. It's a huge help to us here on YouTube, but we'll see you guys on the 17th and stay tuned for more videos in the meantime. Thank you guys so much.
See you guys.